Hi everyone, in this short movie I will explain how you can conduct interviews for doing design research. I'm Guido Stompff, Professor of Design Thinking at Inholland University of Applied Sciences. Before I start, I need to address what kind of knowledge you can use interviews for. Because basically there are three levels of knowledge. There's explicit knowledge, that's what people think and say, what they can verbalize. Then there is tacit knowledge. That's how people do things, like how they drive a car or play piano. And then there is latent knowledge, or very often named latent needs. That's what people dream of, what they desire and are still not so aware of. Now, for interviews, only the top of the iceberg, the explicit knowledge, what people can verbalize, is accessible. What they can think, what they can say, what they can discuss with you about. That's the level you can access with interviews. For design research, there's a specific kind of interview you need. You're hunting for insights, for novel insights, things you didn't know. So structured interviews or surveys won't do the job. You need to have open-ended interviews. And to be honest, those are the hardest. That's the reason why I like to give you a specific approach that worked for me quite well in the past. And I name that every now and then the ICE approach. ICE, ICE baby. That's an easy way to remember it from the pop song. And ICE is an acronym for identify what's on someone's mind, let them clarify what they mean with it, and let them extend on it, elaborate on it, what the implications are for them. And this ICE, ICE baby loop, identify, clarify, and extend, you can do again and again and again in an interview. Keep that in mind because I'm going to show you by means of an example actually, whereby I take you through a couple of steps. Now, the structure of an interview that I like, a kind of structure which I often use, has 6 stages. And you see them here. I'm going to take you through them. The first step is whatever you do, any interview you conduct, always introduce yourself. And what I mean by that is make sure that people feel at ease with you. And rather than just starting straight away with interviews, make sure that you get a kind of contract, that they know you, that you talk a little chit chat about yourself, about them, and then you say, shall we start the interview? Then the real interview starts, and we're going to start with the first stage, which is fact and problem finding. And now I'm going to use the ICE approach. Let's imagine that you want to do an interview on apps that are used on a smartphone and the kind of problems people have with them. You're going to start with the facts, identifying what kind of apps people have and use on the smartphone. So you're going to start quite open with, do you have a smartphone? Do you have apps on it? Which apps are on your smartphone? For what kind of things do you use it? And then you let them clarify it. For what situations do you use these apps? What kind of functionality matters when you're discussing these apps? And then you let them extend, which is like elaborating on them. So in this situation, you use this specific app. Why is that so important for you right then? Why do you choose it at that specific moment in time? Or do you use it also at other moments in time and things like that? That's extending. Now, it's quite important that you stay neutral and factual, that you refrain from the more directive or emotional kind of questions. Once you got the facts clear, you can also start asking about the kind of problems they have. And again, you use ICE. So you identify the kind of problems they have. What kind of apps are causing you problems? What kind of problems? How often does it occur? Then let them clarify. What is the problem you're experiencing? What do you think that causes it? And so on. And then you let them extend on it. What does it imply for them? Why is it a problem for them? What are the implications for you? All these questions are open, so there is no possibility that they can just say yes or no. They're going to have a chat with you. And while you keep listening and using identify, clarify, and extend, they keep talking. I guarantee you that. to the next stage. Once you got quite clear what kind of apps are used, what kind of problems have, you summarize. Make sure that you summarize what I said before. So I understood you use your phone for these kind of apps, and these kind of apps, some of them are causing problems. That are these apps. Is that correct? And if they say yes, you can move on to the next stage. Next stage is find the sore spot, because there are many things mentioned, but we need to know what's really on their mind. What is really the big problem, the sore spot. So once you address a couple of those problems, you can ask them, what's the most difficult problem for you and why? Or on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad was this problem that you just said? So for instance, this app crashes when you're biking. On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad is that on that moment in time? If they give it a, oh, not so bad, it's actually just a 3. You know, we've been talking about it, but actually it's not so important. If they say yes, it's a 9 because I need it very badly on that moment when I'm biking, you know, it is an issue that needs to be solved. Other kinds of questions to find the sore spot are questions like, is it a problem that you expect others have as well, like your family or your friends? Or is it something that must be solved? Or do you think it's not that important? It's all about finding what is the most problematic things people have. Then we can move on to the next stage, stage 5, co-creating solutions with them. And this is all about let them talk about what they think that might solve it, what kind of solutions they are considering. And we're going to use the ICE approach once more. So you're going to start with finding possible solutions. So what may solve it? Do you have ideas to solve it? Do you know how others solved it? How would your mother solve it? Stuff like that. That's just identifying possible solutions. And you let them clarify it. What is it what you have on your mind? How would that work? Why would that solve your problem? And then you let them elaborate on it. Would that solve other problems you have with the same app or with your smartphone as well? Would that help others? Probably you get a couple of ideas. If you have these kind of open questions, trying to find solutions, then it's time to converge. What do you think would be the best one? Why do you think that? That's clarifying it. And let them elaborate on it. Again, what would be the implications for you? By now, you're at the end of the interview, and probably it took you around at least an hour or something like that. It's time to summarize. So I understand you use these kind of apps. This is the biggest problem, and these are the kind of solutions that you think would solve it. If they say yes, then you're at the end of the interview. You got a good interview. Now, let me summarize again the stages you had. First, introduce yourself, contract. Second, explore the facts and the problems people have. Summarize those. Then you go to the step 4. What is really bugging them? What is the sore spot? You explore possible solutions, co-create possible solutions, and you summarize. I hope this was clear for you and that it's helpful for you. Practice it at home, ICE. You will notice that people like you more when you're so responsive and listening to what they say. Identify, clarify, and extend. Thank you for your time.